Unmuted.
Hey there, good evening to all of you and welcome. This is Coach Shivakumar from acquirecoach.com, and today we are going to have a look at the Load Aim Fire 3 Steps to Job Success webinar. Now, this webinar is based on a lot of requests from people like you who have all asked me, so how do we get a job? You know, we've been applying to plenty of jobs, but we simply have not been able to make any breakthrough. We've not got any responses, we've not got any interviews, and it is just, seeming to head nowhere. So what is the problem? Where are we going wrong? Is it something that we're doing wrongly? Are all these jobs fake? Are they not real jobs? Are companies not hiring? So a lot of questions like these are brought to my attention every single day. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity to address all these issues and to look at what exactly is the issue with jobs. Why are people struggling to get a response to their job applications? I also wanted to give all of you job applicants a look at the perspective of the recruiter as well as the hiring manager. What are they thinking about? What are they looking for? And therefore, how can you make yourself irresistible to these companies and to these managers in a way that your job is successful? And so the purpose of this webinar is basically to address all these issues and to also present what I call the Load, Aim and Fire, which is a three-step process through which you can actually get a job. And primarily this webinar is intended for job seekers within the GCC region. But then the overall structure is such that it can apply to people from anywhere. So irrespective of where you are currently and where you are applying for jobs in your home countries or in the Middle East, doesn't matter. These tips, tricks and techniques are applicable for one and all. So with that brief introduction, let's get right into the three-step job success formula. Who am I? My name is Shivakumar and I am a personal branding specialist as well as a certified leadership and career coach. Right? I am based in Dubai and I work a lot with people like you, mid and senior level folks who are looking to transition their careers, who are looking to move on to different jobs, even those people who are looking at resuming their careers after taking a break. Perhaps you've taken a break voluntarily, or perhaps you've been made redundant in your previous job and now you're looking to resume and pick up your job from where you left it. So this is typically the kind of target segment that I work with. And as a personal branding specialist, what I do is that I work with people like you who are wanting to make an impact individually. By this, I mean, when you are a job applicant, you are just one among the hundreds or perhaps even thousands of people who apply for jobs. So how do you stand out? How do you stand apart? How do you say, hey, look at me, I have this unique combination of skills, experience, and certifications, and I can be the solution to the problem that you're facing. So how do you say this? How do you communicate this? So it's all about personal branding. So I, as a personal branding specialist, I work with people and help them create their own unique, valuable personal branding. And as a career coach, of course, I work with a wide range of people in terms of coaching them in how to create what I call a bulletproof resume. I'll talk about more a little later on, but how to create a bulletproof resume, how to crack interviews, which is very important. A lot of people fail in that aspect. And yeah, things like how do you use LinkedIn to get a job, and various topics. You can have a look at my website. It's at www.acquirecoach.com. The detailed information there about the various workshops that I conduct. And you can also follow me on all my social media channels. It's very simple. My personal branding is clear. I am Coach Shivakumar no matter where you go. So whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, just go in and type Coach Shivakumar and you will come up with my profile. So you continue to follow me. I post a lot of resources. I give a lot of tips and information that could help you in your job search. Okay, so let's move on. These are the two organizations that I run. The first is, of course, Potential Max Consultants. I'm also a recruiter, so we are a Dubai-based executive recruitment company. And last year, we were one of the fastest growing agencies. We have a whole bunch of wonderful clients who are all extremely well established. And I mean companies which have been there for 25, 30 years in their respective domains. And we have sourced and placed candidates from Middle East, Africa, India, and Europe for all our clients. You can go to www.potentialmax.com. We have a live career website. You can go to our career website. You will see a list of at least 20 or 25 jobs at any point of time. These are all the jobs that we're actively hiring for. You could go there and you could register your CV. You could apply for jobs. You find other resources there. You could subscribe to a newsletter. We come out with a newsletter where we give you a summary of all the jobs that we have. And we also take you through various career-related resources. So that is something that you can take a look at potentialmax.com. We also offer our bulletproof resume writing service. So if you want to get your professional bulletproof resume written for you by our recruiters, you can get all the details on our website. So check it out. It's a great resource. The second side, of course, is Acquire Coach. This is where we actually do our career coaching, our leadership coaching, as well as our personal branding workshops. And again, we work with people, like I said, who are looking at transitioning their careers. This website is, of course, called www.acquirecoach.com. You can take a look at the various workshops, what we do there, and and the various things that we do there. You can have a look at this website as well. That would be a great starting point for you as well. All right, so let's continue moving. So coming back to the workshop itself today, what is it that you will take away from today? What exactly are you going to understand, and what exactly are you going to get from today's program? Well, the first is that you will get a clear understanding in terms of what companies are looking for today. Okay, what are companies looking for? What is it that they are requiring? What is their problem areas? What is the solution they're looking for? That is what you will understand from today's seminar. You'll also learn how future trends are going to affect your career. What's happening exactly? How is technology transforming the way companies hire? How do you ensure that you stay relevant and that the skills that you have stays relevant throughout your career and as an ongoing process? So that is something that you will understand as well. Well, I promised about that we will talk about personal branding, and we will talk about personal branding. You will understand, or you'll learn how important it is to have your unique and valuable personal branding, which highlights your strengths. And you will also look at the broad steps that we will take to create your own personal branding. Now, you could use that as a blueprint and go ahead and create your own personal branding. We also have a one-on-one workshop on personal branding that I teach, where I work with you over 3 hours, and we together develop your unique personal branding. Again, the details are there on the website at www.acquirecoach.com. You will learn to craft a compelling CV that will give you results. Like I said, if you are applying for lots of jobs and you're not getting anywhere, the culprit could be your CV. your CV may simply not be projecting you as the unique, valuable solution that your prospective employer needs. So it's extremely important for you and for your job search that you have a compelling CV. I call it a bulletproof CV. Why bulletproof? I will talk to you about that a little later. I will tell you that. But then this is something that you will learn here in terms of what are the bricks to creating a compelling bulletproof resume. Interviews are something where a lot of people falter. Now they do all the hard work, they get shortlisted, they go and then they meet the company officials for an interview, and that is where things really start going down. Many people perhaps go into an interview without adequately preparing themselves, without understanding what is it that the company is looking for. They go without enough research being done, and they also get stuck because they are not able to answer some questions, and this is where most of the people fail. So today we shall be looking at common interview pitfalls and how do you avoid them. So this is going to be a very key component to your job search process in general. And finally, you will also understand how a personalized development plan will help. It's getting a job you will see that it's basically a journey. It's not a single activity. It's a journey from where you are currently to where you want to be. And this journey needs a plan, like how any journey needs a plan. You cannot start driving thinking, okay, I'm going to go somewhere. You need a destination. You need to know how far it is. You need to know what is the route that you need to take. You need to know what are the milestones along the way. What are the landmarks on the way that will keep you on track. You also need to know how much time it's going to take you to reach there. You need to know all this information. So a personalized development plan is essentially like the roadmap to your career. So you will understand how that is such an integral part of your job journey. Okay, so let's look at the current scenario in terms of what is happening there. And one of the things that we will look at is what's the job situation currently. So let's look at what are the challenges companies are facing. Now, one of the things is that as much as candidates like you are facing a problem in terms of getting a job, companies are also facing challenges of their own. Now, what are these challenges and how can we as job seekers come up as solutions to the problems that companies are facing? Because obviously, if you have a prospective employer or a company which has got a problem and which is looking for a solution, and if you as a job applicant are able to offer yourself as a solution, then yes, there is going to be a match and there are a good chances that you will actually end up getting the job. But then for that to happen, you need to understand what companies are struggling with nowadays. So this is the fact of the matter today. We have to be realistic about what is happening in the market. And the fact is that 35% of all companies during 2017 reduced their headcount. Now, typically, you find companies which are actually increasing their headcount year on year. That is how companies grow, because you hire more people, you take on more projects, you get more revenues. But in 2017, 35% of the companies actually reduced their headcount. So what this happens, it has got a twofold effect. The first is that the market is going to be flooded with people who have been made redundant. Now, these are all actively working people who are already been in good companies, working for good companies in good positions, but due to the economic situation, they have been let go. So all of these people are already there by default in the market looking for other opportunities. So that is one. And the second is, of course, as a new applicant, as someone who's going to try and get a job newly, this creates an additional problem in that the number of companies who are actually hiring is coming down drastically. So the challenges that companies are facing is that they are to necessarily have to let go of people. So their headcount is coming down. The other aspect that a lot of my clients tell me is that they are facing a depth of qualified candidates. Now, it may seem very strange that on the one hand, companies are actually reducing headcount and letting go of good people, and then they're also saying that there are no qualified candidates. Well, it's like this. Over a period of time when an employee works for an organization, he or she tend to grow in their roles. So someone who's joined at a very junior level, let's say after 20 years of working for the same company, is today at a senior manager level. Now this is growth. Now this is what is used to be known as organic growth. However, organic growth is today, just not happening anywhere. Companies are looking for much more than what people who have grown organically can deliver. And therefore, the fact that they're letting go of these people shows that these are people who have not been perhaps able to keep up with the times and who are not able to respond to the changing situation or the competition. They're not able to cope up with that, and that is the reason why they're being let go. On the other hand, therefore, the companies are also saying that we don't have qualified candidates. And this means that when they say qualified, they're not talking about qualifications as in technical qualifications or certificates. They are talking about people who can deliver in today's competitive environment. So what was good 15 years ago, 10 years ago is no longer relevant today. You need a new skill set, you need a new set of skills, and you need people with a different level of exposure and experience in today's situation to meet the requirements of today's highly competitive business landscape. And that is what they mean when they say that we don't have qualified candidates. This is also a huge thing that my clients tell me, that candidates do have unrealistic salary expectations. Now, this could be two ways, in the sense that there are, of course, people saying that, look, salaries are not going up. In fact, salaries are coming down. Cost of living is going up. I simply need more money. Things are becoming more expensive and things like that. But however, companies are obviously trying to hire at the lowest cost possible. So a lot of candidates I know personally have missed out on excellent job opportunities with really top companies. They've missed out simply because they have had unrealistic salary expectations. It's okay to have a good salary expectation, but then to have something that is unrealistic, to expect that your salary will double or triple from the level that it is at now, is simply not going to happen. And this is one of the key challenges that company today faces. Unrealistic salary expectations. And of course, so finally, there are of course also the immigration and visa restrictions, and of course also the focus on nationalization that is happening in most of the GCC countries. So a lot of expat employees face challenges in terms of getting visas, and a lot of companies don't get the visas for certain nationalities, and they have immigration thresholds, and they have other localization or nationalization targets that they have to achieve. And so that is also coming in the way of them hiring really talented manpower. So this is something that we are seeing here as well. So in a nutshell, these are the challenges that companies are facing. So let's now turn our attention to the challenges that candidates are facing. This is a very familiar story for everybody. Too many applicants. As a recruiter, I can tell you that if I post a job today, I could receive as many as 500 applications or even more within the first 2 or 3 days. Now, it is a fact that, of course, out of this, perhaps 80 to 85% may not be relevant to what I'm looking at. Nevertheless, the number of applicants is just too high. You will never find a job where you can be one of a short bunch of people who have applied. You will always find that there are hundreds of applicants. Now, this does not mean that all those applicants have a similar skill set as you do, but this is something that is a fact today. And this is, if anything, it leads to a lot of wasted time on the part of everybody. It makes a thing difficult, but then this is simply the way the market is today. There are a lot of people who are without jobs or who are wanting to change their jobs. A lot of candidates tell me that, look, we've come here on a visit visa, and my visa is going to expire in the next month, or I don't have much time. But then companies are just taking too long. I attended the interview, and then after 2-3 weeks, they said you have to attend another interview, and then and things are just taking too long. I don't have time. I'm losing time. This is a very common kind of a situation that I come across as far as job applicants are concerned, and I'm sure all of you will agree. This is a point that I want to make, and a lot of people, actually, a lot of job applicants have this feeling that many of these jobs are actually not filled from outside, and that they are filled internally. They are not really open, and that positions are being created, people are being hired, but it's all being done through people they know or through references and things like that, or through other employees and things like that, and it's just not being advertised, and it's not being done in an open manner. So this is something that a lot of candidates feel. And as a neutral party, as a recruiter who's obviously like a bridge between the candidates on one side and companies on the other side, I can tell you that by and large this is not true. When my clients come to me and say that, look, I need such and such a person, they really don't have anybody internally. Otherwise, why would they hire me and pay me to find someone for that position? So the fact that they're paying me and they're hiring me shows that they don't have these kind of resources or these kind of talent internally available. Otherwise, this job would not even get listed, and it will not even get farmed out to recruitment agencies. So the fact that clients are coming to recruitment agencies shows that they are looking for people and that these jobs are very much available. I can tell you that if you, like I said, if you take a look at my website, which is www.potentialmax.com, you can go to the career website. You will find at any point of time at least 25 to 30 jobs. And these jobs, and you can see the dates. We practically post a new job every day, and these jobs are all very much live, and they are all available. So you could apply today to these jobs. So this is a point that a lot of people, the candidates feel, but may not be necessarily true. And well, like I said a little while ago, many candidates fail at the interview stage. This is a fact. A lot of people do fail at the interview stage, and the reasons are many. Like I said, lack of preparation, lack of knowledge about the job itself, lack of knowledge about the company, lack of knowledge about the person who is doing the interview, lack of knowledge about the market situation, about competition, or just nervousness, not able to answer the questions, communication issues, body language, a lot of things go into this. But it is a fact that many candidates fail at the interview stage. I know, because we send candidates for interviews all the time, and we also know what is the reason why they were not selected, because that feedback comes to us from the client. And this is a fact. Okay. So this is the $1 million question, isn't it? What are really companies looking for? What do they want? What do they expect from candidates, from job seekers. The number one thing that companies are looking for are ready-made candidates. This is simply the most common requirement that comes to us. We want somebody who can start doing the job today, not someone who will be ready in 1 year from now or 6 months from now. We need someone who can start doing the job today. We don't have time to train people. We don't have the resources to offer training. We need people who have got, if you're talking about the sales job, we need salesmen who already have contacts, who already have clients, who already have customers. If you're talking about procurement, we need people who already have vendors, already have suppliers. So it's all about how ready you are as a candidate. Are you ready to start working tomorrow? Okay, that is what companies are looking for above everything. This is the second most important thing. People who can do multiple tasks and can work independently with minimal supervision. Unitaskers, people who can just do one kind of work is definitely not preferred compared to people who can do a variety of roles. So someone who can do audit, who can do finance, who can do accounts is definitely preferred to someone who can only do audit or who can only do finance. So people who can do multiple tasks and can cover multiple roles are definitely preferred. This is what companies look for. Well, this is also true. People who are willing to work beyond normal working hours. There is no such thing as a 9 to 5 job anymore, my friends. Even banks are now working for much longer hours. So you have to be willing to work beyond. I understand that family life and work-life balance takes a beating, but then this is the harsh reality of today's world. You have to be willing to work beyond normal working hours, and you must be flexible. Especially if you're in a support role, you have to be on call 24/7. You cannot say that no, today is, I have my off and you should be willing to work. This is what is the minimum expectation that clients have. And of course, finally, companies are looking for those who can work effectively with others as a team. This is very important because no work gets done individually. Everything is part of a team. Everyone needs to be part of the team, and therefore employees who can only work effectively with all other different types of people as a team and get results together as a team, they are the ones who are preferred. Okay, so just briefly want to check with you in terms of your understanding. We will of course be opening up the question and answer session a little later, and you can go ahead and ask questions that you have on this as we go on. So let's go ahead. Okay, so now let's come to the 3 steps to job success. This is at the heart of our subject today, and this is basically what we're talking about today. So I want to, you to imagine that you're a sportsman competing in a rifle shooting competition. Okay, so you have a gun and you have a target which is, 50 yards, 100 yards in front of you, and you're supposed to fire at the bullseye. Now, what would you do as a competitor? Would you just basically take your gun and shoot towards the target directly with no planning, nothing? Just take the gun out and fire? Is that what you would do? Or would you first ensure that you are fully prepared in every respect? Okay, that you have the right ammunition, because if you have the wrong ammunition, then it's not going to fire, it's going to misfire. And that your aim is correct. Have you aimed properly, or are you just firing blindly without any aim? Which of these 2 things would you do? Chances are that you would want to do the second, but you'd be shocked to know that when it comes to, let's say, shooting for jobs, it is a previous approach that everybody uses. People just fire off applications blindly with no planning and with absolutely no clear-cut goals and no preparation at all. Okay, so that is the first thing that you need to stop doing when you're searching for a job. So do this instead. The first step is, of course, this is where you are going to discover yourself. Okay, the true essence of who you are and what your dreams and what your goals are. Okay, identify your goals and create what is your vision. At this point, you also are going to define who you are. What is the essence of you? What is this unique, valuable proposition that you have, which you are going to offer to your prospective employees? And therefore, what is your mission? So the first step, Lord, is all about self-discovery. It's all about understanding who you are, identifying your goals, and defining your brand. Then comes step 2, which is aim. And here we're going to talk about how you can create a career plan with solid steps. Okay, solid steps means very concrete kind of steps that will take you towards building a career plan. You need to be clear about what your target is and who are the resources that can help you reach that target. You need to know that today. And finally, you will of course create a path, your career path, and you will create your own personal introduction, which is essentially going to be your bullet. Then of course is fire. So step number 3 is all about reaching decision makers, because they are the people, they are the man. Okay, what is the man? The people who have the money, who have the authority, and who have the need. So these are the people who can hire you. These are the people who are going to say yes or no. And therefore, step number 3 is all about reaching these decision makers and how to reach them directly at their workplaces. And after applying, you will follow up through various actions, and you will consolidate the leads that you have, and then you will continue to building up your brand and creating an equity for yourself. So this is very critical. Your job is not over the minute you apply. This is what most people do. They just shoot up a job application blindly, and then they wait. They wait for the company to get back to them. That doesn't happen, right? So this is something that you need to understand. Okay, so let's go into step number 1, load. At this point, I just want to ask if anybody has any doubts, anything you want to talk about. You can click the Q&A button there, and you should be able to ask a question that I can answer. We will have further opportunities for questions as we go on. Okay, all right. So let's continue. So step number 1 is, like I said, load. It's all about having a strong personal branding. It's about identifying your natural strengths and personality traits. And then we will look at what is called the triangle of abilities and the rectangle of desires. This is a part of my proprietary personal branding exercise that I do. We will see how you can take all these things and put it together into a personal branding statement. And then we look at how you can communicate your personal branding across both online as well as offline media. So the first question that comes up is, what is personal branding, right? So personal branding is a process by which we market ourselves to others. Now you may ask at this point of time, look, I'm a person, right? I'm already unique. I'm not a product. So why do I have to have a personal branding? Well, look at it this way. You are absolutely unique and valuable in yourself. Nobody else in the world has the same combination of personality traits, work experiences, educational qualifications, and value systems as you do. So yes, you are unique. But then, how are you going to communicate? How do other people know about this? How are other companies, how are your prospective employers, how are they going to know about this uniqueness of yours? Unless you communicate that, there's no way they're going to know about that. And therefore, personal branding is all about communicating your uniqueness. You are already unique, but how do you communicate that? So it's all about that. And as in any marketing professional would tell you, it needs to be packaged, right? Anything that needs to be sold needs to be packaged properly. If you go to a supermarket and you want to buy almonds, you have a choice. You can either buy the almonds which is kept in the loose unbranded almond which is kept in the sack, or you could go to the shelf and pick up a branded packet of almonds. So chances are that if the price is the same, chances are that you will definitely go and pick up the branded item. Why? Simply because you have that confidence that, look, this is a brand and this is a brand that I know, and therefore I know that the quality will be good. I know that it would have probably been cleaned well. I know that it's been sorted out size wise, and I know that the size will be even and all the almonds will be of the same size. I know that they will not be chipped and they will not be bad. So you know that. So chances are, if the price is the same, you would still go ahead and pick up the branded one rather than the unbranded one. So personal branding is very similar to that. You are unique. You need to communicate that you are different from others and that what you can offer is something that nobody else can offer. Okay. Personal branding is also how others see you and talk about you, right? So the moment they see you, you should stand for something. People should say, okay, so this is Shivkumar, and he's a coach, and so people need to know about you, who you are the moment they see you, and that can happen only through a strong personal branding. Okay, and people will talk about you, even in front of you or behind your back. People are going to talk about you, and chances are that they're going to talk about personal branding. They're going to talk about you as a brand. They're not going to talk about you as a human being, not in a business context. They're going to talk about what you are representing. That is what personal branding is all about. And your personal branding is going to be used by you in person as well as throughout all your online channels. So whether it's your website, whether it's your blog, whether it's your Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. Or even offline networking events when you're going to a seminar or when you're going to a meetup, and this is your personal branding is what is going to be crucial for you to use. Very important that you should brand yourself. Okay, but if others brand you, then you have no control over what your brand becomes. Okay, so this is the first few steps towards creating your personal brand. So I want to take you briefly through this. Like I said, I offer a separate program, a workshop where I work one-on-one with my clients in creating their personal branding statement. And if you're interested, you could check out my website, acquirecoach.com, for more details. So the first part of the triangle is something called natural strengths. So what are natural strengths? So natural strengths are things that you are very good at by birth. Okay, these are things that have sort of come to you very easily and naturally. You can do this for a long period of time. You don't get bored. Okay, And this could be anything. It could be the fact that you're very outgoing. You can go and talk to, you can go and approach anybody on the street and you can talk to them. Okay. It could be skills like creativity. It could be humor. You have a very humorous way of speaking. You have a very humorous way of looking at life. You have a very light way of looking at life. It could even be some skill sets like mathematics. You're very good at numbers. So these are all things that you're born with, right? So these are your natural strengths. These are things that come naturally. You don't have to make an effort in order to do these things. So these are your natural strengths. Very important for you to identify what your natural strengths are. So the second aspect is, of course, your professional equity. By professional equity, I mean all the things that are associated with your professional life. So this could be your qualifications, your certifications, your career advancements, your experience, your work experience, your achievements, everything comes into this bucket. What qualifications do you have? What kind of work experience? What are your special abilities? Project management, things like examples like I've mentioned here are project management, you are voted as the best young leader, etc. So all these come into your professional equity. To complete the triangle, we have something called, of course, personality traits. Now, personality traits is all about you. Who are you really? What kind of a person are you? What are your qualities with regard to, all kinds of things related to your work? What kind of people do you like? What kind of people do you dislike? Things like positive thinking, adaptability, compassion. So these are all personality traits. This is who you are as a person. This is again an inborn thing which is there. It's not a skill. It's not something that is acquired. It's a personality. This is how you interface. This is how you react with the outside world and how the outside world reacts with you. This is your personality trait. So we take the natural strengths, we take the professional equity, and we take the personality traits. These are the three things. So in our workshop on personal branding, we would actually sit and we would do special assessments. We would do specific assessments which would unravel your natural strengths, because you may not know what your natural strengths are. But once you do the assessment, your natural strengths will come out. Okay, then similarly for your personality, we do personality assessment tests. So when you take these tests and when you answer these questions, then your personality traits will come out. So then we take the natural strengths and we take the personality traits and we, of course, combine that with who you are as a professional and use that as a basis for creating your personal branding. So we've already seen that these are the three areas. Now we want to go one step further and put another triangle inside. Okay. So now, other than these three broad triangles, you can see three more triangles in gray. Now what are these triangles? The first is, of course, what you do. So your natural strengths, combination of your natural strengths and the professional equity. So this natural strength here and the professional equity together, that results in this, which is what you do. Next is who you are. So combination of your natural strength and your personality traits here together gives this, which is who you are. So what you do is a combination or is a measure of your natural strength and professional equity, and who you are, as in who is the essence of you, that is defined by natural strengths and personality traits. And finally, what you can offer. What can you offer to your prospective employer, to your prospective client, to anybody, to society in general? What you can offer is defined by your professional equity and your personality traits. Okay. So once you have uncovered your natural strengths, once you have defined your professional equity, and once you have discovered your personality traits, you combine all these three elements to give these three core purpose statements, which is what you do, who you are, and what you offer. These three together, in addition to these three, represents your inner core. So this is your inner core. This is unshakable. This is never changes. This will always be the same, and this is who you are. This is the essence of who you are. This is your inner core. Okay, this is very unique to you. Nobody else will have the same inner core as you do, because nobody else will have the same combination of all these things as you do. Okay with me so far? I call this the triangle of abilities. Okay, let's now take it a step further. Let's look at defining your goals and aspirations. Broadly speaking, all of our goals will fall into these four segments. One is, of course, life goals, which are things that are there on your bucket list to do. These are things that I want to do. It could be, climbing Mount Everest, whatever. It could be bungee jumping, whatever. This is a life. It could be a life goal. Say, I want to learn German. So these are personal goals that you want to achieve, milestones that you want to reach. It could be, the life goals could be related to money. It could be anything. Doesn't matter. Career goals. Career goals are, of course, everything related to your career. I want to be the university topper. I want to be a gold medalist. I want to, have my own company. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to become a general manager in my company. Or recognition. I want to, win the Nobel Prize. Who knows? So all this could be career goals. Interests, everything that is of interest to you, that means a lot. You want to pursue this throughout your life. It could be, playing the guitar, or photography, or anything, or it could even be a cause. It could be social service. It could be, working with orphan children, or child education. It could be anything. So what interests are your passions? This is what keeps you going. This is what has intense meaning to you and gives meaning to your life. And of course, finally, the reward. So what is the money you wish to earn? What is the recognition that you wish to achieve? Awards you want to win. Everybody works for rewards, right? All of us are doing what we do because we want some reward at the end of it. Even if the reward is altruistic things like peace of mind, or giving back to society, even those are still rewards, right? So these are the four broad segments that we can say are our rectangle of desires. Now, let's take the rectangle of desire that we have just seen, and let's pop in our triangle into that. If you remember our triangle of abilities that we did in the previous segment, let's superimpose that on top of a rectangle of desire, and this is what you see. So now it's very clear that when it comes to your life goals and your career goals, okay, what is going to help you achieve your life goals and career goals are your natural strength and your professional equity. These two things, basically what you do is going to address, or this is the key to achieving your life goals and your career goals. Okay? And what you do, as we saw, is a combination of natural strengths and professional equity. And your interest in life and your rewards are going to be answered, or the key to achieving these is this: who you are, which is a measure of your natural strength and your personality traits. So who you are is going to define the achievement of your rewards as well as the achievement of your interests. And what you do is a combination of life goals and career goals. So this is the stage that we need to come down to. This is the analysis. This is the level to which we need to analyze our own strengths, and we need to get to this level before you can actually start doing, before you can actually start building your personal branding. So the core of this, the small triangle inside, is indeed your personal branding statement. So how does this, it's all very good to say, put it in the form of geometric shapes, but how do you actually do that? How do you craft your personal branding statement? How do you do that? Just take a look at what you see on your screens now. Just analyze that for a minute. So who you are, these is who you are. Let's say these are of course hypothetical things that I put here, but you will of course substitute this with your own findings as you discover yourself. So let's assume that who you are is you are extroverted, you are adaptable, you are methodical, you are ethical, and you are agreeable. Okay, so these are the personality traits and who you are, the combination of the two. And what you do, let's say you are an MBA graduate, you have 8 years of experience, you are a subject matter expert, you are a certified trainer, whatever, blah, blah, all that will come in there. And so what you can offer, let's say you can offer exceptional client engagement, you can improvement in profitability, you have transferable skills, you have a transparent working style, you are a team player. So this gives us now what I call the matrix of choices. So once you have this matrix here, which is a combination of who you are, what you do, and what you offer, you can pick words from here and put that into a coherent statement that becomes your personal branding statement. Let me give you an example. Now you see that some words I have highlighted in red and some in blue. Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 examples of your personal branding statement. One which involves all the red colored words and one which involves all the blue colored words. Let's start with the red one. Have a look at this. Highly analytical MBA marketing and certified digital marketer whose agreeable and extrovert nature brings exceptional client engagement skills while being a valuable team player. See how we have used these words into a unique and powerful personal branding statement. So just substitute, put your name here and say so-and-so is a highly analytical MBA marketing and certified digital marketer whose agreeable and extrovert nature brings exceptional client engagement skills while being a valuable team player. So this then becomes the essence of who you are. Everything that you do, whether it's your resume, whether it's your social media channels, whether it's your LinkedIn profile, everything will be based on this personal branding statement. Let's look at the other example. See what I'm trying to do here? Experienced marketing professional with a proven track record of improvement in profitability and revenue generation, bringing transferable skills with an ability to work methodically and transparently. This is another example of a personal branding statement. Now, personal branding statement needs to be powerful. What do I mean by that? When I say powerful, it has to use these kind of affirmative words, action-driven words like analytical, agreeable, extrovert, exceptional client engagement skills, valuable team player. So So all these are what I call powerful words. Your personal branding statement has to have these powerful words. Methodically, profitability, revenue generation. These are all magic words. These are things that are going to resonate with your employer. Anybody who sees your personal branding statement should instantly form a mental picture of who you are. And say, okay, so this guy is this. So I know that this is what I can expect from this person. Okay. So your personal branding statement is essentially who you are. It is very much who you are, because you remember we've done this through a process where we are uncovering these skills in you, and we're looking at character traits. So this is very uniquely you, but it's just being packaged in this manner. So once you have your personal branding statement, where are you going to use it? Well, like I said, you can use it on all your social media profiles. You will of course use it on your CV. You will create a landing page. You can put links to your social media profile. You can definitely use it during the interview, but not just stating it out. That's not how it is. But I'm saying elements from that, you would certainly be using it strategically throughout the interview. You will use it during all networking meetings. So personal branding is an asset. It's going to grow over the years. It's going to appreciate in value over the years. You start with it today, and over the years, as you grow in stature, it's also going to grow in value. Let's look at creating a resume now. This is very important. Now that we understood what personal branding is all about, it's time to actually create a resume based on around your branding. So again, this is something that I do. This is a workshop that I do on its own, which is called a resume bulletproof resume workshop. Again, I work one-to-one with clients, and I help them actually create their own bulletproof resume based on their personal branding and based on their skills. But then, to tell you briefly about this, your resume needs to meet certain conditions. This is one of the key factors why a lot of people keep applying to jobs and they don't get anywhere. Simply because their resume is not conveying the strength, is not conveying the true essence of who they are. The resume is too bland. It is just a very generic kind of a document. It does not put forth the person's unique skills. It does not put forth the proposition. It does not sell the idea of why the company should hire that person. So the first thing that you need to look at is that your CV needs to be machine readable as well as human readable. What do I mean by this? Most organizations today, if not all, use applicant tracking systems, what are called ATS systems. Now, ATS systems are nothing but scanning computers. Now, these scanning computers are designed to scan through hundreds and thousands of CVs in minutes. Because of our earlier thing where I told you that there are hundreds of applicants for every job, you can imagine that it's not possible for a human recruiter to literally go through each and every resume. On an average, let me tell you, you'll be shocked if I were to tell you what is the average time that a recruiter spends on a CV. It is 8 seconds. Okay, so 8 seconds is all the time a recruiter spends on an average on any CV. At the end of 8 seconds, the recruiter decides whether he wants to go ahead with it or not. So you can imagine, but even 8 seconds, and when you look at hundreds of thousands of applications, even 8 seconds becomes impossible, because they would only be doing that all throughout the day and nothing else. Therefore, most organizations have what are called ATS or applicant tracking systems. These applicant tracking systems will quickly scan through your resume, and if there is not a match, at least up to 80 or 90, depends on how it's configured, but 80 to 90% match with the conditions that are specified, then the application will straight away get rejected. This is the reason why you keep applying for hundreds of jobs and you don't hear back from them. Your CV has not even been seen by the recruiter. It's got rejected by the scanning machine. So what is the solution then? Is there even a solution? So the solution obviously is that your resume or your CV needs to be designed in such a way that it can get past the scanning software. So unless it gets past the scanning software, it cannot, it's not going to even be seen by anybody. So the first objective for you, as far as making your resume is concerned, is to make it machine and human readable. This is a very common thing, but a lot of people don't do that. Use bullets for making points. Don't write in long form. Don't be verbose with your descriptions. Nobody has the time or the patience to read long descriptions of what you're doing. Just use bullet points. Like I said, 8 seconds. You have to register. You have to make sense in 8 seconds. You have to tell your story in 8 seconds. This is something that unfortunately I don't see much of. I see hundreds of CVs every day, and I rarely find CVs which highlight achievements. Everybody talks about what their job responsibilities are, what their job duties are. Oh, I was responsible for this. I'm responsible for doing this. This is what is my job. Look, companies are not interested in what your job duties are. They want to know what have you done. What is your achievement in that job? And these need to be quantifiable achievements, not qualitative. You cannot say, no, I increased your customer satisfaction levels. That is not good enough. You need to quantify it. If customer satisfaction went up, then by what percentage did it? What was the earlier figure? Now what is and how did you do it? So achievements are, your entire CV has to be built around your achievements, not around what you're supposed to be doing. Speak about value addition all the time. Value addition is so important. You need to know, you need to be telling that this is where I can add value to this job. Now you have a job you're going to hire for. You already said in the job description that this is the need. Now this is the value that I can add on top of all this that you want to be done. I can also do this. I can do this. That is where you strengthen your case. Font colors pages. To speak very broadly, don't use more than 2 fonts. One font for body text and one for highlighting. Colors, again, use it only for emphasis. If at all you're going to use colors, never more than 2 colors. Don't use primary colors. Don't use bright, colors. Stick to highlight colors. And in terms of pages, don't go over 2 pages. Even if you have a 20-year work experience, you can still summarize it in 2 pages. I receive CVs that are 5 or 6 pages. I don't even bother. Because, like I said, 8 seconds, 5 pages, not going to happen. Ensure that your CV is formatted in such a way that no matter which machine reads it or scans it or parses it, the information is not lost. I see a lot of CVs where people use a lot of fancy fonts and they use graphics and they use this, that, but none of these are actually parsed by the software, and they all end up as boxes or glitches, and the whole thing looks very bad. So keep your formatting very simple, and as much as possible keep it in PDF format, because PDF format, when it is parsed, it stays true to the original document. Okay, so this is what I can tell you about creating a resume which is based on your personal branding statement. These are just a couple of examples of the kind of resumes that we create for our job seekers, for candidates. You can see that it talks about highlights. We have leadership profiles, we have highlights, we have testimonials, and the whole thing is kept very, very professional and extremely standardized. So this, no matter which software it goes through, you will 100% this are guaranteed to come up based on what the job seeker is looking for, or based on what the recruiter is looking for. Okay, so now that we have the first step out of the way, which is all about preparation, which is all about self-discovery, which is all about knowing who you are, let's go to step number 2, which is AIM, which is building your career plan, researching target companies, identifying hiring managers and recruiters. How do you create opportunities through networking? Before we do this, are there any questions? Anything anyone wants to share? Yeah. Okay. All right. We will come back to that question a little later. So building your career plan. Now, one of the things that you need to understand when you're building a career plan is that it needs to be modular. Now, what do I mean by that? Build a career plan through blocks. By blocks, I mean this is equally relevant whether you are starting off as a fresh job seeker or you're an experienced person who's looking at your next career move. Build your career map through blocks. Now, for instance, I've just given an example here just to illustrate what I'm talking about here. Let's say you start off as an intern. Let's say you start off in the logistics department as a logistics intern. The next step up for you as a logistics intern would be perhaps to become a logistics assistant. Now, from here, from being a logistics assistant, you have two choices. You can either move into a supply chain officer, or you could move into becoming a procurement officer. And thereafter, of course, your path again continues in the respective lines. So then from procurement officer, you become a procurement manager, or from a supply chain officer, you become a supply chain manager. Now, once you reach a certain level of seniority, these two, again, you see it converging into let's say, a head of supply chain and procurement. So at the lower level, it's common. You rise along a single channel. Then you branch off, you specialize, and then you rise vertically within each vertical. And then again, it sort of combines back and it gets consolidated or amalgamated into a senior position. So you need to first map out your career trajectory. No matter whether you're in marketing or you're in sales or you're in production, you need to map out in terms of where the career growth is happening. And this can be done through career research progression. So you have to look at how careers progress in the particular industry that you are in. Do some research, find out. Look at what is the typical structure. Have a look at some of the LinkedIn profiles of people from your industry. See how they have progressed in their careers. Where have they gone? Where have they started, and then how did they rise up? When you look at 10 people, when you look at 10 profiles, you will see that there's a pattern that is emerging, and that is very important. And that will give you an idea in terms of how to plan out your own career progression. Very important to have a clear roadmap, and by roadmap I mean a step-by-step block plan of your career with indicative time by which you need this to happen. So if you want to become a general manager, if that is your objective, then there are a lot of intermediate steps that need to happen. If your objective is, let's say, I want to become a general manager in the next 5 years, then an important intermediate step for you could be that I want to become a senior manager in the next 2 years. Because then if I become a senior manager next 2 years, then I know that I'm going to become a general manager in the next 5 years. So that is important for you to have a clear roadmap for. So build your career as a series of steps. Like I said, it's not an activity, it's a journey. Build it as a series of steps. So logically, one step leading to the next step. But it's very important that you need to have a career plan. You need to put it down on paper. It's no good if it's just in your head. It needs to be in the form of a diagram. It needs to be in the form of a flow chart that you can look at every day and assess where you are on that path. Okay, let's look at companies to target. How do you research companies to target? Are you just blindly waiting for jobs to open up and apply? Or are you proactively doing a job search? If you're proactively doing a job search, it means that you need to research companies. What are some of the parameters that you will take in order to target companies? Let's say that today I want to make a career shift. I want to move to a new company, perhaps a new industry. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look at companies which are there in my industry or in my domain, and I'm going to research all of these companies. What am I going to be looking at? I'm going to be looking at learning opportunities. Which are the organizations which are going to provide the maximum learning opportunities for me? Because if I don't learn, then I don't grow. I need to know which are the companies which are going to afford the maximum opportunities for me to learn. Growth, of course, everybody is interested in growth. There are companies where the growth may not be great. It's a good company to get in, but once you get in, you're going to sort of remain at that level for a long time. You're not really going to grow. So do you want to be in that kind of a company where there's no growth? You have to research companies and you have to find out. Very important in today's situation. What is the financial health of the company? Are they doing well? Are they struggling? So this is going to be critical. Don't apply for jobs in companies if you are not confident that they have the financial health to stay in these really tough times and see through these tough times and emerge successful at the end of the tunnel. If you feel that that's not going to happen, perhaps that's not the company you should really target. Company culture, again, very important. It should be a fit for you. Otherwise, it's not going to be a long-term gig. You're going to get in and you're going to get out. If you want to build a career for yourself, if you're looking for stability, if you're looking for growth, you need to research the company culture. And how do you research company culture? By reading up on the company, by going to Glassdoor, by looking at reviews by employees over the company, looking at what people are saying about the company. Future scope of the industry itself. 5 years ago, everybody wanted a job in the oil sector because that was the greatest job in the world. People would do anything to get a job with ADNOC or any of the oil companies. But today, the industry future itself is in doubt. Oil is on its way out. So 10 years from now, 15 years from now, how is it going to be? Nobody knows. You need to research on the future scope for the industry. Okay? There are a lot of products which people thought were, the greatest inventions, and they thought this is going to be great, and today those products are not even existent. And finally, of course, the companies you need to target companies which are hiring people. No point in targeting some company which is not going to hire. We know for a fact that most of the banks are not hiring people now, and the only few people they are hiring are nationals. You know that the oil industry and the energy sector is not hiring, at least not in the kind of numbers that they used to hire. So you need to understand and you need to be clear that these companies are actually going to be hiring people. If they're not hiring, then they are not to be targeted. So now that you have your personal branding and now that you have your career plan, you need to target companies and say, these are the companies that I want to target. So have a list of 5 or 10 companies that you want to target. Next step, mapping people within these organizations. It's not enough that I know this is the company, I want to target this company. Fair enough. But have you mapped the people inside? Who are the recruiters? Who are the hiring managers? Who are the decision makers? Again, use LinkedIn extensively. LinkedIn is a wealth of information for you. Understand who's reporting to whom, who is whose boss. Every information can be got through LinkedIn. You just need to know where to look. What is the organization structure? Go to the company website. Look at organization structure. Look at management structures. Understand how it's organized. What are the business units? What are the SBUs? Understand all that. Use job boards for information. Don't just use job boards like Naukri.com or Monster or Byte just to apply for jobs. Use it to research companies. There's a whole lot of information on Byte.com or GulfTalent.com on companies. There are websites like Thomson Reuters, which gives you extensive information on companies. Zavia.com is again an excellent source for information about companies. So research all this, find out who is who. Send emails, email your prospects. Find out, ask them, are you hiring currently? I'm looking for this kind of a role. Would you be able to help me? Would you be able to, give me some leads? If you don't ask, you don't get. Use the phone. Speak to people. Believe me, they will like the initiative that you're taking. Don't think, no, I don't want to call up somebody on the phone. That's not good. Look, it's your career. Are you going to sit and worry about that, or are you going to use every resource that is available with you? Call up people. It's okay if they don't talk to you. That's fine. You don't lose anything. But unless you identify who the people are who are taking the decisions inside, there's no way you'll ever be able to make any progress. Then you just have to wait for them to come back to you. And we know that, and we have seen that that doesn't work. Create opportunities through networking. I cannot emphasize this more, especially in a place like the Middle East. Everything here works through networking. Everything. You need to create opportunities for yourself. You need to push through your opportunities. Attend industry events. Attend social events. Doesn't matter. Could be a Rotary Club. It could be a Lions Club. Doesn't matter. Still go. You never know whom you're going to meet, who's going to help you. Attend seminars. You've taken a good step by attending this webinar, but attend much more like this. Your vision will widen. You will meet people. You will learn something new that you can use. Ask for referrals. People whom you know, your business contacts, ask them to give you referrals. Ask them to refer you to other people. Build up your contacts. Don't just, networking is not just about social networking. On Facebook, you send a friend invite to people. That's not what active networking is all about. Active networking is actually people-to-people networking. It means meeting people face-to-face, shaking hands with them, introducing yourself, giving them your personal branding. Use every opportunity to talk about your personal branding. Okay, so now we are at the final step, which is, where you are actually going to apply for the job. So you've created your personal branding, then you're prepared, you've done your research, you understood the companies, you know who's who, and now finally you're going to apply, and then how do you follow up? So just before you apply for the job, do a check. I can tell that I received so many applications from people and they have just not bothered to check before submitting. Either the CV itself is missing, they've attached the wrong document, they've given the wrong information, the email ID is wrong, Skype ID is wrong, telephone numbers are wrong. check everything before you apply. Don't be in a hurry to hit that submit button. Check everything. Check whether you've met all the conditions, everything that they're asking for. Have you provided all the information that they are asking you to provide? Covering letter or not, I don't know. This is a personal thing. I can tell you as a recruiter, I don't submit any covering letter to any of my clients. If you send me a covering letter and a resume, we consider only the CV, not the covering letter, because clients don't want to read covering letter. That's another document that they have to read. They are not interested. If at all you want to have a covering note, add it to your resume itself, but not as a separate document. It just doesn't make sense. Not in today's world. But it's a personal choice. If you feel that that's how you've been doing it, go ahead and do it. But I can tell you that generally it's not going to be seen. Reach hiring managers directly. How do you reach people directly at their workplaces? You don't know their work email IDs. Well, there are ways to how you can reach out to them, and we cover this extensively in our workshop on using how LinkedIn to directly reach people. There's a workshop that we do, and we cover this. There are specific tools, there are techniques which are available within LinkedIn and outside, which allows you to reach the hiring managers and reach the recruiters directly at their workplaces, not their personal mail IDs. The only other option is to send out a connection request on LinkedIn and wait for them to connect. They may connect after 3 days or 4 days or 1 week or not at all. And then you have access to their email ID, which is generally a personal email ID. So you send them a note through inbox, or you send them your email through your personal email ID. That is never going to work like sending it to their official email IDs. And there are options available which if you research you can find out, but it's important that you need to reach out to hiring managers directly. Keep the conversation going. Which means that continue to advocate yourself. Continue to reach out to people. Even after you have the information, continue to make inroads. The more information you have, the more power you have. Monitor your progress. So once you have applied for the job, your job is not over. You need to monitor the progress. What's happening? Many of the applicant tracking systems will probably give you an update in terms of what is happening with regard to your application. Is it being seen? Is it being shortlisted? Please use it to monitor your progress. Understand what's happening. Follow the company for news. It may open up new opportunities for you. It may create an additional space for you to reach out to people and talk about events that are affecting the company. Hopefully, if you do all this well, if you've done your personal branding, if you research the companies that you're going to apply for, and if you've taken care to apply and follow properly, hopefully you should be getting a call for an interview. Like I said, this is a step which is full of dangers. A lot of people falter at this step. A lot of people fail. And therefore, it is crucial for you to have a clear understanding of how to prepare for a job interview and what companies or your interviewer is looking for from you. You'll be amazed at how many people go for an interview without even researching the company. They have no clue about the company. They have no idea what the company is doing. So when the interviewer asks them, what do you know about a company? They are not able to answer. Every interviewer expects you to know about the company when you're coming there for a job interview. The more you know about the company, believe me, the more of an impact you will make. Yet, most people are just too lazy or they just ignore it. They just don't research the company at all. They just go directly there with no clue. They just say, no, I don't know much about the company. And this is, I was told to come here for an interview, so I've come here. Seek help from other people. Perhaps you know some people who are already working in that company, or you may know somebody who knows somebody who's working in that company. Call them up, speak to them. Ask them, look, I just want to know a little bit more about the company, about the kind of people that are there. I just need to know what's happening. What are some of the projects you guys are working on? You need to seek help from other people. Use every resource that you can to gather information. Learn about the interviewer. Go through their LinkedIn profile, go through their other social media profiles. Research them on the internet. Try to find out who is this person? Who is this person who's going to take my interview? What is he? What is his essence? So you need to know that. Without doing all this preparations, if you go for an interview, it's not going to turn out well. You'll be amazed at how many people don't even know this. They don't bother to find out where is the location of the interview. They just go there and then they call me and tell me I'm not finding the place. Go there if you have to the previous day. Make sure that you see where the office is and how long it's going to take you, which is the route you need to take. Don't just land up there on the day of the interview and then search for the place. Go 1 or 2 days before. See whether there are any traffic problems there, whether there's parking available nearby. Decide where you're going to park. This is very important. You need to know all these things before you go for the interview. Check yourself on video. Take your mobile phone and shoot a video of yourself doing a mock interview. Check yourself. You'll be amazed at what kind of insights you get. From your body language to the way you speak, the kind of words you're using, your expressions, your micro expressions. Everything will be absolutely revelatory for you. So check yourself on video, because that's how the other person is going to see you. How you see yourself on the video is exactly how the other person is going to see you. And if you are not satisfied, then chances are that person is not going to be satisfied either. Finally, dress like you need the job. Don't, I'm amazed at how few people realize the importance of dressing properly. There's an old saying, you don't never get a second chance to make a first impression, and that is true. You need to dress like you have already got this job or that you need the job. Don't give them a reason for rejection. I know people who have been rejected simply because they were not dressed up properly. This is a fact. I have clients who are absolutely insistent on proper dressing. If a person is not dressed properly, even if the tie they're wearing is too loud, it's not matching with the shirt, they are not going to be impressed, because these are all customer-facing positions. And these people are going to represent the company in front of their clients, and they don't want to take any chances. Continuing with our interview skills and techniques. Switch off all distractions. There's nothing more distracting and there's nothing more annoying than having the candidate's phone start ringing when you're in the middle of an interview. And then the interviewer has to wait until you take out your phone and you silence it or do whatever it is. Please switch off your phone or keep it on silent. Just don't get distracted by all these gadgets that you are carrying around with you. Pay attention to the interview and pay attention to the interviewer. Sit in a relaxed manner. Don't be nervous. Don't sit very stiff, because you are nervousness will be very visible and will be emphasized to the interviewer on the other side. Sit in a relaxed manner. But by that I don't mean just sit like you're sitting at home. I mean sit in a relaxed manner, which is basically showing that you are alert, but at the same time you're not stiff and you're not tense. Focus on the questions. Don't be thinking about your answer. Don't be thinking what am I going to talk, what am I going to say even before you heard the question fully. This is a mistake a lot of people make, and I've interviewed literally thousands of people, and I can tell you many people who don't even listen to the question. And what they answer is nothing to do with the question, and then I have to tell them, look, that is not what I asked. What I asked was this, and you can imagine what kind of impression that creates. If there's more than one interviewer, divide your attention equally. Don't just keep looking at one person and ignore the other person. Address both of them. Make eye contact with both of them. Or if there are more, then with all of them. Again, talk about your achievements. Don't talk about your job responsibilities. Don't say, I'm supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be doing that. Talk about what you did. Ask for the next step. You'll be amazed at how many people don't even do that. People go for the interview, they give an interview for an hour or 2 hours, and at the end of it, they just come off. And then ask them, what happened? What did the interviewer tell you? No, I don't know. I didn't ask and he didn't tell me. Why? Why not? Ask the interviewer, so sir, what is the next step in this process? When can I expect to hear from you? Ask, because that shows initiative. Ask for a business card. Nobody is going to say no to you. No interviewer is going to say, no, I cannot give you my business card. Because when you've come all the way and you've spent time with that person, they will of course give it to you. Ask them, can I connect you on LinkedIn? Ask them. Don't go back and send a connection request without asking them. Ask them at the meeting. Is it okay if I could send you a connection request on LinkedIn? Very important, send thank you mails. Once you come back, send thank you mails. The moment you're back, send emails to both the recruiter and the hiring manager whom you met. Thank them for giving an opportunity and tell them that I hope that I was able to answer all the questions that you had. And if you have any more questions, please get in touch with me at any time. And don't try to sell yourself through that mail. This mail is purely to say thank you and to acknowledge that and to your gratitude for that they took time off to spend the time with you. Track the follow-up dates. If you had asked them for a follow-up date, then you have to track that on your calendar. Put a reminder for yourself. Track it. If you are applying to multiple jobs and going for multiple interviews, chances are you will forget. Very important. Keep the search going. Even if you've had a fantastic interview, things are really good and you have a strong feeling that you're going to get the job, do not stop your job search. Keep the search going. Because the more number of options you have, the more better position you would be in. So keep the search going until everything is finalized. Check in with your references. Ask them, did you get a call? Did this company people call you? Because that is a crucial step. If they've called you and if they called your references and if they've taken a reference check, you know that they're serious about it. So check in with your references. They are anyway your references, they're your friends. So they will tell you if they've heard. This is another gray area when it comes to salary and other negotiations. A lot of people face a lot of difficulty, so I thought I should include something on negotiation. Again, this is a workshop. Negotiation workshop is a workshop by itself, but briefly, this is what I can tell you: that look for a positive outcome. A win-win situation is what you should go for. Don't go into a situation thinking that, okay, if it doesn't work out and I'm going to walk out of the place. Don't go with that attitude. Go with an attitude that says that, okay, we'll figure out something and we will come to some kind of a conclusion. Keep salary for the last. If you feel that I have to talk about the salary, keep that for the last. Don't bring it up as a first point, because it's not always about the money. Be ready to commit yourself. If the company says, look, if we offer you this money, are you ready to take up this job? You have to be ready to commit yourself. Don't say, okay, I'll think about it, or I'll talk to my family and I'll get. If that is the case, then don't go into negotiation. If you're not sure whether you're going to take the job, if you're not sure about the company, don't start negotiations. Understand what kind of salaries are there in your industry. Again, this is something that, like I said, it goes back to my earlier slide where I talked about the challenges that companies are facing, and that one of the challenges is unrealistic salary expectations from candidates. It comes down to the same thing. You need to clearly research salaries. You need to know what are the salaries that are there in the industry. What is the current benchmark? It's not just that, okay, I need this. It's about what is a profile which is very similar to yours. What is the kind of salary? Again, this information is available. You can go to Glassdoor, you can go to Byte or Gulf Talent. So many websites which will give you benchmark salaries. Know the correct market conditions. Before negotiation, you should know where you stand. What is my situation? Is it a desperate situation? Is it a comfortable situation? You need to know what it is. Pay it forward. Now that you've got a job, now that you've successfully cleared the interview and you've got a job offer and you've taken up the job, be a guide for others. Remember how you were struggling and how you had to reach out to people to understand. Do the same for others. Always be available to give advice. Always be there to provide any help that you can for other job seekers. People who are going to come after you, either within your company or outside your company. Always be a good ambassador. Speak well about your company. Speak good about your company. And this is for your past company as well as your present company. It is never a good idea to leave on a bad note. Always be a good ambassador. Talk well about this. People like to hear good things about companies, not negative things. If the only reaction that you have is negative, then don't talk about it at all. But if you're going to talk about your previous company or your present company, always be a good ambassador. And finally, be a motivation for others. People should look up to you and say that, look, here was a person who planned his career well and who executed his career strategy well, and today he's getting the benefits from that. And that should be a motivation for other people like you. Okay. Be the reason someone smiles today. That is at the end of the entire thing. Okay, so I'm going to go into a quick wrap up now in terms of what we have discussed so far in this entire webinar. Like I said, your job search is a journey, it's not an event. There is a definite starting point and an ending point with milestones in between. Information is power. Use every resource you can to research more about companies, people, and salaries. Understand future trends and how it could affect you. Always be proactive rather than reactive to coming events so you're better prepared. Personal branding is a must. Okay, this is what is going to make the difference. Invest in personal branding today, and believe me, you will see the difference. Create a compelling and result-oriented CV that will get you shortlisted. Don't waste your time applying for hundreds of jobs without having the right CV. Learn how to write a CV that will convey your strength and will make you stand apart. And practice your interview multiple times with different questions so that you are just one step away from the actual interview itself. Practice is what is going to make you perfect. Okay, so I'm done with this webinar. We don't have much time because we're just short of 2 minutes. I'm getting a lot of questions. Unfortunately, I won't have time to take these questions into, but what I will do is that I will answer each of these questions to each of the person who asked this question individually through email. That way, we will make sure that if you have anything, you can put your questions here right now, and I will respond to you through email because I simply don't have time to take all the questions. I mean, questions coming up throughout the webinar. And since we started late, unfortunately, we had to start late because some of you messaged me saying that you're having technical difficulties in getting connected. And so we started late. So the 15 minutes late start, unfortunately, has also resulted in us not being able to answer the questions in this forum. But for sure, I'm making a note of all the questions that have been asked, and I will answer each of these individually to you through email. Okay, so I hope this was useful to you, and I just want to put up a quick poll. I just want to you can just give me a rating on this. This will help me fine tune this for the coming, because this is an ongoing webinar that we keep doing. So go ahead and give your rating and let me know what is this. If you think it's terrible, tell me it's terrible. If you think it's good, let me know it's good. So just go ahead and give your rating. And thank you all so much for taking time off and being here for this webinar. And I will look forward to hearing from you and catching up with you as we track your individual career progress. Okay. Thank you and good evening.